Okay, today is the 14th of today is Saturday, the 14th of March, 2026. That's 14 March 2026, and it is yesterday was Friday the 13th, and it was an amazing time because yesterday is only one of three times in a 28-year period where you have back-to-back Friday the 13th. So anytime you have Friday the 13th, it falls in a February on a non-leap year. It means that in exactly 4 weeks, you'll have another Friday the 13th, which will be March. And the way it was explained, according to AI, was that the first Friday the third in a 28-year period, it's 11 years, and then 6 years, and then it starts all over. So in every 28 years, you have three Friday the 13ths that flow on the 11th year, the 22nd year, and the 28th year, I believe it is. Yeah, so it's amazing, isn't it? Yesterday was the second Friday the 13th within a 28-day period. Go figure. Isn't it cool? I thought it was pretty neat. Here we go here. I'm playing some nice audio. You gotta love this one.
Okay, red alert. Ted Cruz is pushing a bill to strip Americans of citizenship if they provide a platform or material support for so-called terrorists. And once the foot's in the door on this one, it's going to get so much worse. Think about the no-fly list, for example. Think about the Patriot Act. He says terrorists and their supporters have no place in the United States, and denaturalizing and deporting them will save lives. Next week, I'll introduce a modernized version of my Expatriate Terrorist Act from 2017. I began pushing this policy during my first term in the Senate. It will enable the U.S. government to revoke the citizenship of foreigners and people born here, I will add, not just foreigners, who've committed or support terrorism. Supporting terrorism. What the hell does that mean? What the hell does supporting terrorism mean? Here's a clip from yesterday of Ted Cruz saying, basically that saying Christ is king is anti-Semitic terrorism.
Although it is being used online in a way that is meant to say, screw you, Jew. It is being used in a context very directly to say, I hate Jews, and that's almost an online code word. Christ is king is, I hate the Jew.
Is that your view, or why do you say that?
Because you see the people who are saying it, and they're saying it in that context. They're saying Jews are horrible, like they're attacking Jews, and they end with Christ is king to make it sound.
See, what Ted Cruz is teaching you, something in the 1950s that my dad learned in college, was thinking straight. It's called logical thinking, people. You're not allowed to think straight in this day and age here. Here you go, thinking straight. This was normal college curriculum for the year 1956 when this book was written. And I believe the 19 copy right here, this paperback, I'll tell you, this is an exact copy, no reprint, 1950 and 56. So this is a 56 copy of what they used to teach in the schools, how to think without letting people like Ted Cruz be your filter. People like Heather Cox Richardson, who will never, ever utter a bad word about Israel, ever. She'll talk about, oh, well, Trump is doing this and Trump's not liberal enough and we're not working. But Heather Cox Richardson is never going to teach you, like Mr. Beardsley, to thinking straight. And that's the fact, Jack. Here we go.
Somehow there's a biblical basis for attacking Jews. Look, Jesus was a Jew. Look, as I read the Gospels, Jesus went to the cross willingly. He made the choice to go to the cross, and it was not the Jews who killed Jesus. It was me.
Should we really let somebody who's so deranged that he just admitted on Canadian national television to killing Jesus 2,000 years ago, to make the law of the land? So what is this Expatriate Terrorist Act that Cruz is so hell-bent on pushing through? Well, it represents one of the most dangerous threats to constitutional citizen rights proposed in modern American history.
Okay, I'm going to pause
marketed as a
this.
counterterrorism-
Bill Greathouse sent this link to me, and I just thought I would play it. I'm going to put my, if anybody wants to come in here, hold on a second here. Oh, let me go back in here. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, let me, yeah, there we go. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. How did I add item? Nope, I can cancel. Oh, sorry. I apologize. I hit the wrong thing. There is a positive thing here. Nope, cancel that again. This is what I wanted to do, this copy thing. All right, I'll put the link here. Bill, if you're watching this, copy this and I'll paste it in the link here. Bill, if you want to come in here, that's fine. If you don't, that's okay too. Oh, well, got kicked out of here. Oh. All right, so I think I had the date wrong on here. I hope I'm still, you guys, I kicked out of here. Let me see if I'm still in here. I'm still in the same chat. I think I am. I'm in the same chat. Okay, good. So it's just me, and it's the 14th of, it is not the 12th, it's the 14th. So let me get back to this book here, Thinking Straight. It's written by a guy named Beardsley, obviously a professor that teaches you how to think straight, not be a lemming. Just all kinds of deductive arguments like these war on terror. I mean, you could read this book and you could break down all these arguments, why you're not an anti-Semite, even though they call you that, why you're not an anti-American, even though, because see, this is what colleges used to teach you. They don't teach that anymore. They teach you the Heather Cox Richardson kind of crap that you get to follow a pre-formatted template. I'm going to start putting these comments. We just got out of a global crisis followed by wars, by which means they know it's BS and could care less. Even the constant war in Israel, there are still excess men there. Yeah, it's true. Steve, you're quite bright individual, though you have said some stuff that seems nutty in the past. Like what? Like that it's the looks issue? You know, I have been telling people this, that if you don't logically think, if you don't use your brain to think straight, you're going to be caught down the rabbit hole. Okay, so let me paste this in here. This is my link. Boom, boom, boom. All right, now there we go. Oh, I've said some nutty things in the past. Well, enlighten me what I've said in the past. It's so nutty. So Ted Cruz, like all these other politicians, they want to pass bills because their corporate masters want them to follow a script, i.e. they don't want you to read books like this called Thinking Straight, logical thinking and deducing arguments. Can't do that. Can't do that. You got to follow the script. So you got to listen to Heather Cox Richardson and her prefabricated Trump is evil, never talk about Israel agenda. That's how it is. I don't like it when I find it really insulting when people control the narrative. When people arbitrarily control the narrative to any discussion, they determine what you can and cannot listen to. And so thank you, Bill, for sending me that link. And I will read more and more. I get another book called Logical Thinking. I had a bunch of these books. These were common in the 50s, though. Tells you how to take it when somebody makes a claim that something happened, like there was a boy down the street and he there was a fire broke out at a lady's house, and there just happens to be a boy in the neighborhood that likes to play with matches. Oh, that's the guy. That's the guy who did it. Yeah. That's the mentality. But what is an arbitrary? Imagine being imagine being what? Unironically anti-Semitic. You might be an anti-Semite. That doesn't. All right. Even with the constant warnings, there are still excess men. Okay, I don't want to talk about TFL right now. I know the TFL issue, okay? Oh, Bill wants to come in here. Good. I'm going to add him to the stage. Hey, Bill, how are you?
Good. And how are you?
Hey, Bill, how do you like this book I've shown you?
Oh, there you go.
See, this is 1950s. They actually used to teach you how to think in college. This is banned material now. This is an actual 1956 copy of a guy named Beardsley. It's called Thinking Straight. It's called Logical Deductive Thinking, how to take an argument and put it together, something our wonderful media doesn't want to teach you anymore.
No, you can't have that. That might be a
Can't have that, no. I got to read this. I got to sit down and read you chapters of it. It's awesome. They don't print this stuff anymore. You have to go to like a used bookstore to get stuff like this now. And they do sell this in used bookstores, but you got to find them.
There you go.
So thanks for the link and thank you for coming in, because I got a lot of people that don't like to come into this comment, and I could put the link up again, but it doesn't matter. Anyways, Bill, how are you doing today?
Oh, that's another day, huh?
Another day. Cool. Bill, you just got to watch. Bill, what you need to do is just sit back, drink your cocoa, and watch Fox News, and you will learn. You will be very educated.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't
watch Fox News.
No.
And listen.
I haven't watched TV in over 20 years, and I'm not going to start now. You know,
yeah, I know.
And...
Hey, Bill, you need to listen to more 19-year-old smartasses, too.
Yeah. But, you know, I was looking at what that Ted Cruz is trying to push for the next bill.
Yeah.
Okay. And, of course, that goes right along with what's going on in today's world and right along with the Patriot Act.
Right.
That says if you speak something that's absolutely against what the establishment wants,
right,
we can take your citizenship away from you, Steve.
Yeah.
And you don't get a trial or a jury. You just get locked up like the Patriot Act.
Yeah. Hey, MGTOW Cowboy, if you did want to come in here, we're not talking TFL today. We're talking something else. But anyways, yeah. This crazy shit going on. Well, you know, we could talk about TFL, but I'd rather kind of focus on this war. Now they're sending troops there now. They're getting their ass kicked, Bill. The United States is not going to win this war. It's
not meant to win. You know, we're not meant to win.
Yeah, if you think about it, we're not. Yeah. Right.
I mean, we are not meant to win, and we won't win because it's the way it is.
Yeah. They got to keep the war machine going. You know what, Bill, amazes me? These wars never benefit you and I. They only benefit these fucking billionaires.
Well, that's because all wars are banker wars.
Yeah, right. These dumb hillbillies. Oh, my government. Oh, my granddaddy died for freedom.
No, he didn't die for freedom. He died for the boy. He was a pawn.
Yeah.
Didn't know he was a pawn. Okay. The people benefit, and we're always the bankers. They use it to steal. So they've gotten everything they've gotten through theft.
Yeah. This guy says, I have a question for Bill. Well, go ahead, Flip Wilson. What's the question for Bill? Oh, he's interviewing Bernard Chapin, this guy. I'd love to find out remember Bernard Chapin, Pine Grove 33?
I remember him, yes.
Yeah, he was cool. He really read through he was one of the early critical thinkers in the whole internet.
He was. I remember
he was the guy that, he was amazing. He was such a critical thinker. Pine Grove 33 was his name of his channel. Oh, he's interviewing him in a couple hours, he says. Okay, well, that's all right. If you don't want to get in, that's fine. Oh, yeah. Okay. So anyways, there's Pine Grove. So anyways, this war is just going to drag on. It's 2 weeks into it. But you know what? I love what Iran did. They did what they needed to do was they destroyed all the interceptors or all the radar systems that the United States put into the United Arab Emirates. Those governments have all sold their people out. every United Arab, all those governments in the UAE, it's called the Gulf Cooperative Initiative or whatever, they all capitulate to the bankers. And they do it at the cost of their people too.
All of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really actors and they're up there at the top and
Right.
they do whatever the banksters tell them to do. And
Right.
And if you're not on board to doing what the banksters want you to do,
Mhm.
then you're going to be the next terrorist.
What these elite, these globalists and these Arab sheiks do, they drink alcohol, they sleep with lots of women, and they tell the rest of their people, no, you need to practice Islam and be a good Islam, while they're living the high life and selling their country to the Satan,
Yeah.
That's why Iran is attacking the United Arab Emirates. It's sending a message that they're trying to kick the United States completely out of that region, which makes sense. I mean, I would do the same thing
Well,
too.
I can't blame them. I mean, we strategically since 9/11 have built military bases, U.S. military bases on foreign soil surrounding Iran.
Right.
So we literally got U.S. military bases in all these different countries, calling that U.S. property, U.S. military is there, surrounding the very country we're accusing of being a terrorist.
Yeah.
Who they don't have their military bases in other people's nations and blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. So see, they're a terrorist because they're not doing what? Going along with the lie?
Right. Okay, Twisted, go ahead. Ask Bill a question, anybody. Put it in here. Bill wants to read your questions. If you guys want to get a question in here. But anyways, yeah. So this lies and deception. And thanks for the video, because that guy actually is pretty good YouTube channel. Some guy's making a smart ass comment. He says the real war is between Steve Hoka and Anglo hillbillies.
Oh, okay.
I'm always making fun of those hillbillies. They go, yeah, oh glory, Clem, you done reckon we gonna get them jobs? I personally think they are just to put a final nail in the coffin in the U.S. Yeah, I don't know. There's this other guy, to Professor Zhang. Now he's on board with this, but he does think that they're trying to create, like, he calls it the Greater Israel Project, where Israel wants to control the entire Middle East, the water.
Well, I don't know what you would call great about Israel. It's been a long time now, and you can remember back then when they said it's illegal to boycott Israel.
Yeah, right.
If you're in America.
Yeah, you're in America.
You have to stand by everything Israel tells you, and when you look at the script, they've got it right down to a pat that the little country will lead the big country to its death. Well, there you are.
No, they did. Did Congress just okay, Brian Tucker, do you have any confirmation that Congress just implemented the draft? Or are you just saying that because you think he will? I don't think he has. I don't think it's been official yet, but that's what he says. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm glad that
that wouldn't be hard to find out. You can Google, you can search that, and if they've actually done that, it'll show up.
Yeah. Oh my God, who the hell? Bill, you know what I can say good about the younger people today, though? We can say what we want. They're actually cynical. They will not fight in this war. Unlike the stupid hillbillies of, oh, my granddaddy died for freedom. Even those hillbillies won't fight in the war anymore. They'll just
the thing is people need to figure out the first thing they need to do is everybody on massive numbers need to turn down fighting anymore.
Yeah.
They get their power by telling us and scaring the hell out of us and us going and doing the dirty work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? These people, you ain't going to get the banksters to step in some field somewhere and go to war and kill blah, blah, blah. You ain't going to get these actors calling themselves governments out in the field. They want to send the pawns, the useless eaters and feeders. Right. Okay, us, that they want to put down.
Yeah.
They want you to go die for their agenda.
Yeah.
Well, why should you go attack another person who's done nothing to you for some psychopath's agenda?
Mm-hmm. Well, the banking system, if in fact Iran is smart at this and they get people to get rid of their debt in the banking system, America, the dollar is through, Bill. It will not, it's held up by debt, by foreign creditors buy this debt. That's all it is.
Well, you know, the entire globe right now is under the same central banking system. It's all debt based. And it's been deliberately done so they can steal the planet out from underneath you. They want digital money everywhere.
Yeah, so they can shut you off like a light switch. They want to be able to turn you off.
Once they get you digital, you are now officially a slave because
it's called a social credit system. They just turn you off like a light switch. Boom.
Yeah. I mean, they see everything you buy.
Yeah.
They can go in the software because it don't exist. It's a software. And they can say, well, Steve, you're only allowed to buy 1 gallon of milk this month and 1 loaf of bread.
Right.
And you got the money to buy 2 gallons? No, I'm sorry, Steve.
And here's another thing. They'll make it impossible to exchange gold and silver because they're going to confiscate that. What?
I was just looking down this boomer stuff again. Bill and Steve Boom.
No, he doesn't mean boomer. He just said boom, like we're a tag team wrestling team, like.
Oh well, we could be that, but you know what good is it going to do us because we need other people to realize what's really going on, and it's not fighting; it's standing down and refusing to follow your order.
Right, you got to be a good order follower, Bill.
I'm terrible at that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not good at it either.
They wouldn't like me. I wouldn't be a good order follower.
I was talking about this one woman on here. She's got a big channel now. She's a college professor. Her name's Heather Cox Richardson. And she's this intellectual, she's real smart, supposedly. And she'll put down Trump, but she won't even criticize Israel. She won't touch it with a 10-foot pole. She controls the narrative. So all these intellectual think tanks all control the narrative.
Yeah, they're not going to touch talking about Israel because they already know.
They know.
Okay.
It's hands off.
They know it is. It isn't like they don't know. They do know.
Yeah, they're aware of it. Yeah.
And this is why even stuff like what this Ted Cruz is pushing.
Yeah.
Everybody should immediately go against that.
Yeah.
And put that guy out because the only thing he's going to do is he's going to help he's just helping the agenda. That's what this is really about.
Yeah, Flip Wilson just says she's like the new Jordan Peterson. She's the media darling that they self-appoint and that she controls the narrative so that you can criticize this, but you can't criticize that, but you can touch this, but you can't touch that. You can only go here, but you can't go there. Bill, I don't believe in any censorship. I don't believe censorship means corruption.
Censorship is corruption because to censor something is to tell you what you are allowed to talk about, allowed to look into, allowed to listen to, and what you cannot talk about, what you can, taboo. TFL's been taboo forever, right?
Yeah.
Okay? It's the same thing. Somebody says something's taboo. My first question is, so what have you got to hide?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And with what's going on right now, I mean, I'm looking at World War III. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
And they're going to lead us into World War III because that's what this is all about.
Right. It is.
And this is why you want to pay attention to everything that's going on around you because it's going to bleed into that because you realize once they declare a World War III, most people don't realize it. Yeah. All of their so-called constitutional rights, I like to call it the con job, okay?
Yeah.
Goes out the door. You become under wartime powers where you lose your rights.
Right. It says, wondering if you guys have heard the rumor that Bibi, which is Netanyahu, got taken out by a missile in a recent couple of videos of his speeches are AI generated. It's possible. We don't know. They lie about everything, Bill.
God, you're so right about that.
Israel is getting its ass kicked with missiles from Iran, and they're blocking it out and they're censoring it.
They're never going to tell you what's really going on over there. They're going to tell you they took out this person or that person, and it don't mean they did.
Yeah.
It's all theater.
Yeah.
You're only going to get what they want you to know and nothing more. And if you get your hands on information you're not allowed to know, it'll be like when ISIS come out. Okay? I couldn't keep a video up 20 minutes, 5 minutes. without being attacked and then having it taken down and struck, all because of what? I
Yeah.
said stuff they didn't want the public knowing.
Hey, Bill, I brought you this book because I want you to know that you can learn to think critically, thinking straight.
Thinking straight.
This is a book on how this is what universities taught in the 50s before it got brainwashed with all this crap, is how to think without logically deduce an argument without listening to it being filtered through people like Heather Cox Richardson and Jordan Peterson.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a scam right here. It says there are over 100,000 or 10,000 missiles damage claimed by Israel, while they claim 90% they've intercepted them. No, they're running out of missiles. Bill, do you know what the term asymmetric warfare means?
Okay,
Asymmetric warfare means a country no longer can win a war with $100 million weapons, because a country with a bunch of $50,000 drones will cost a country millions of dollars just to shoot one missile to knock it out. So all you do is you keep launching the drones and they run out of missiles. And that's what's happening right now.
Well, you're going to see that. And then, of course, with the satellites having the energy weapons on them, I mean, the technology is a lot further than what people realize. They can drop a laser from a low-line satellite on an area and totally mess it up.
Bill,
they
the
can
problem
put
with
a
that
drone
theory,
thing there, and there's no human beings flying it because they're sitting in a military base running the drone, and you're not taking people out, you're taking a drone out. And if you got a lot of drones, you take out the weapons coming in. And then if that don't work, we can use our low-lying satellite energy weapons to take it out. Either way around, this is not going to be like what anybody's ever seen before.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it says, I just left let me read this here. It says, I just left a live stream of Heather Cox Richardson. She just said seconds ago that Iran war is a good thing. Well, a good thing for who? Now, here's my question to Heather Cox Richardson.
Yeah.
Is it good for America or good for Iran? I say it's good for Iran. It's not good for America. But see, here's the thing. Heather Cox Richardson is a controlled opposition. It's all she is.
Well, it is, and I wouldn't call any war a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I would say, cool, since it's a good thing to her, you can be put on the front lines. Here's your gun. Go, girl, go.
Yeah.
Because she don't want to be on the front line with a gun in her hand. Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, who wants to go to war for some psychopath and have your life put on the line? I mean, who really wants it? I mean, the failure to grow up. There it is right in your face.
Man's inability to grow the F up.
That's right.
Man's inability to grow the hell up.
And that's right there in your face. Okay, what people need to be doing is rejecting going, period.
Yeah.
You got to have a high number, because if you ain't got a high number, they're just going to come in and force people. But if you get too many people at one time, they can't force it.
Yeah. I tell you something, Bill, right now. I know you say that it's a win-win for the bankers, but I don't necessarily I think that the bankers are trying to win this war if they can. I don't believe that they're trying to lose. I think they really believe they can pull this off.
The bankers tend to, or they see they're psychopaths for one, and they don't do anything without knowing the outcome first.
They do, but Bill, you underestimate the laws of the bankers have to have a plan B, C, D, E, F.
I understand what you're saying, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
But really, the only way to stop the bankers is get people on board to not listen. But as long as you get people on board, because they have a never-ending wallet.
Yeah.
Okay? So they'll keep pushing their money at these people to do this, and these people are going to use, I'm not turning down that money. I'm going to do, Mm-hmm. And the reality is you need people to not care about money and say no.
Bill, when America slaughters people, this tells me about the feminists. They 2 weeks ago, the United States sent a cruise missile over there and blew up a school with like 170 girls. Okay. Where are the feminists? If they really cared about human rights, which they don't, they would be bitching about this. But it's all about what I can get in the New World Order in America, or the West. That's all they care about is their own self-interest, which is not young girls in a Muslim country being slaughtered.
That is true. Women don't even care about women.
Women don't. No.
They care about themselves. They're selfish.
Yeah, I don't see any women in London or downtown New York saying, "Oh, you slaughtered all these women." It goes to show you that both the right and the left are so full of shit.
It's just the feminists. Them days are gone. I mean, these women are not fighting. They were never fighting because they were held down, suppressed down by men to begin with.
Yeah.
The Kool-Aid is, well, we stopped them from voting and blah, blah, blah. But they don't realize that, no. The reality is that at one time, the only people allowed to vote were the wealthy landowners.
Right.
Which means all the rest of the men and women alike couldn't vote.
Yeah.
They just conveniently left that out. Okay? So, the reality is that we've all been lied to for longer than I've been alive, longer than Steve's been alive. Hell, even my dad and his dad, Steve's dad, and my grandpa and Steve's grandpas, they were all lied to too. That's how long this has been going on.
Mm-hmm.
Got to have a critical thinking skill and pay attention to what's going on around you.
Right.
You don't just believe what a TV set tells you. Look into things, keep your eyes open, keep your mouth shut, and pay attention to what's actually going on.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, somebody said about doing it. These two guys never want to interview with me. I've offered them to interview with me, and they're afraid. Every time, Bill, I hate these guys that if you ask them the tough questions, they freak out. So these two guys, Western Decline and Thomas White, will not interview with me. They will not. They don't want me asking them the tough questions.
Yeah, well, I don't know who these guys are.
Mm-hmm.
But, if they're going to want somebody else on that, they want to do something, blah, 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 but they're not willing to do it in return, and there's a reason behind it.
Well, yeah, because I was going to, what a sweet little precious. Oh, what a crazy. His name is, what's his name, Whitey?
No, Meow.
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 It's my baby.
My cat, I love these cats. They're so my
He's
cat
got
lays
100 mile an hour motor going right now as he jumped on me.
Dude, you know what I do? I keep the heat down in my house to save on the energy because I just wear a coat when I go to bed, and the cat wants to get heat from me, so he lays on my stomach all the time. I love these animals. They're so sweet.
Yep, he's my baby.
I know. They and here's the sad thing. Eventually you're gonna outlive that animal. I mean, maybe he'll outlive you. I don't know. How old is he?
He's a Meow the third. Okay, he's my third cat that I've named Meow since 19 years old. I was 19 when I got my first cat.
Named Meow.
Him Meow. I've had 3 Meows, so I call it think about Gilligan's Island. Okay, Thurston Howell the third. Well, this is Meow the third.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, I have a question to ask you. That orange cat that you have, was that his name was Meow too? That orange one in the video?
No.
What was
not
that
all
cat?
Of them were named. Not all of them were named that. That was Coco.
Coco? That was a cute cat.
I had one that was Misty, had Cuddles, had Coco, went some years in between. Okay, so I've had 2 Meows. This is the third Meow, my last cat that I'll have.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he's spoiled rotten.
Yeah. Hold on. I'll get my cat. So I'll show you my cat real quick. He's outside. He doesn't want to come in. He wants to stay outside. He likes to play in the leaves. He's a sweet cat. He's a real precious cat. I love these animals. They're good animals. They do their. Yeah, he's outside laying in the leaves right now. I don't want to bother him. He's a good kid.
I got him off my lap, so I get my lap back now.
Yeah. Yeah, I just took a picture of him yesterday. Hold on. This is the picture I took of him yesterday. Hold on. Oh, that's a different picture. Hold on. There he is. There he is. He's such a. I just took that yesterday. It's my cat. You can see the paws on him. He's got those funky paws. They're called polydactyl claws. He's got 6 digits on his left and 7 on his right.
I don't know. We call them murder mittens around here.
Yeah, they're funny. Yeah, they're cute. He's a sweet little kitty.
Meow's a mouser.
He's such a sweet. Yeah, he's a mouser too. He's so sweet. He's so precious. I love him. He's my kitty. His name is Spunky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're only with us a short time.
No, well, Meow's 10, almost 11 years old now since I got him, this baby.
Yeah, they're only with us for so long. Raymond, thoughts in mind. I haven't followed him. You know, his format's the same. He has not gained any. I did a search on him. He's stuck at 27.2K subscribers, and he has not budged at all. This is weird, Bill. These people with these huge subscriber rates, that's not organic. I don't believe it is.
No, well, you know, when you really look into it, Steve,
Yeah.
I was never on board with doing this, but you can go on Google. You can buy packages of thumbs up, thumbs downs, and subscribers both.
Right.
You put out the money, you get phony subscribers you don't have. You get packages of thumbs down and thumbs up. And you get to use so many per video or per shot. And it's insanity because it just makes the thumbs up, thumbs downs, and the subscribers complete BS. Because when the stuff is for sale, then it's worthless. It's useless.
Mm-hmm.
One person could buy a package of thumbs down
exactly.
and 10 thumbs downs on your video, like 10 people thumbed it down when it was only one person. So it's just, nah. I shut the stuff off and people couldn't figure out why I shut it off. I shut it off because it's not legit. If you can sell the things which Google does, then it's no longer legit. It's corrupt. You know, your thumbs up, thumbs downs, and your subscribers should be for real. Okay? But they're not.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God, Raymond's actually lost subscribers. He's down to 27.1. This guy has, what I think is happening, Bill, I think, or his channel grew organically, but I think somebody's trying to purposely keep him down. He tells a lot of truth in his videos, and they don't like that.
Well, if he tells too much truth, his channel will disappear and he won't get them back.
Right. He's already had a couple.
He pushes out, you know, and you don't want to get into areas they don't want you to because they got tendency coming after people. I got under people's skin back in the day, and it was the people that I got under their skin that pushed me down. And they're non-forgiving. You know, I remember back in the day, I got a phone number to Google after they had bought out YouTube. And I called them and recorded it. They were pissed and hung up on me. And the very next day, I dialed the number back and they changed it just that quick. You know, and then they were on my heels from that point forward. And then, you know, things just went downhill. I was attacked in so many different ways and lost so much. But I was the bad penny, kept coming back.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do.
But they knock your subs down. They don't let you have the subs. They can hold you right where they want you.
Bill, it's everything we see is lies. This is what I've told people. Almost everything, including the so-called synagogue shooting or the synagogue guy that drove up and tried to. This stuff could be all. They're already saying that the synagogue, the guy that they're saying a Muslim guy drove his car up and crashed into a Jewish place of worship. There's already people calling it out already, saying that the story doesn't add up. This stuff is all.
That's just, they make this stuff up.
Yeah.
You know, the school shootings.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I can think of several
They're
school
almost
shootings.
all bullshit.
They're all
staged.
BS.
They're actors. They're fucking actors.
They are.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Sandy Crook. Okay. I call it Sandy
Columbine was a real shooting.
He walked into a school that had been not an operational school in 7 years, was shut down 7 years ago. I hadn't been in school in 7 years. They clean it up. They paint the parking lot. They make a deal with the car lot. The car lot has all these vehicles in. They make it look like there's people in there. They bust kids in from other schools, and they all have them practicing. Then they fire up the camera, and that's what they show the public.
And the reason why you don't hear about it, like the people say, oh, I know that kid. He didn't go there, because the media will censor it before it even gets. So you cannot even.
You don't stand a chance if you put out the wrong stuff at the wrong time.
The media would never do an expose. Like you'd never see even your local news media say, look, we just found out that this kid in the video is not really from Sandy Hook. He went to such and such school. They would never do that. And here's another thing, Bill. It's possible that these kids could be like kids from an Eastern European country that they just brought over here to act as actors. So like, let's say there's a school shooting and there's 30, 40 kids. Okay. They could literally just have a bunch of foreign kids that don't say any words. And they're like, but they could all be acting a rollout. It could be all fake.
Well, you have that. You have the other scenario that I know they did do.
Right.
People that sold out for money would give them a picture of their child 7 years before. Yes. 7, 8 years earlier, the picture was than what they are now.
Yeah.
And that's the picture they would show the public. You had that one kid. This is funny.
They did that with Trayvon Martin.
Died in Sandy Hook shooting, right?
Yeah.
And 6, 7 years later, there was a school shooting overseas, and they had the pictures of the kids up on the fence. And the one picture was the same kid who died in Sandy Hook dying again overseas.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, well, he must have had some 9 Lives cat food.
Bill, the video now, digital video
is insanity.
Digital video is so clear now that even in 20 years, they can fake a scene and they can play it 20 years later and you'll never know the difference.
Oh, you got that right.
You won't know the difference. So they could take a kid who's 12 and he's 12, it's like 33 now. And then they'll just act him out in the role and they'll have this thing pre-scripted ready to go. This thing is all pre-scripted.
Well, they made a mockery out of the people at the Super Bowl right behind Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
That following Super Bowl.
Yeah.
3 of the kids that were out there singing the national anthem were killed in a Sandy Hook school shooting. And it was actually proven to be true. And how did that happen? Because the pictures the public has seen were 7 and 8 years old. Right. These kids were older, so they didn't look quite the same. Yeah. And they marched them out there and had them sing the national anthem for you.
Hey, Bill, the whole thing with the Alex Jones lawsuit, to me, what I think that was all about, Alex Jones is never going to pay that money. They did that as an example that if you criticize this, you too could get sued like that. They want to send a message. You can get sued for $1 billion for saying that school shooting is a fraud. That's why they're doing that.
Yeah.
They want you to know that we too can bankrupt you.
Just the actual truth. You know, Parkland, when the school shooting happened up in Florida, okay? That was actually posted on the FEMA website for a military exercise. Military exercise was scheduled for that address of that school 9 months before the shooting happened. On the day of the scheduled exercise is when a gunman walked in off the streets. So you mean on the scheduled exercise going on at this school when the sheriff's department, the military is at the school, a gunman walked in off the street. Okay, No, it was all staged. And what you had was a military exercise drill going on. Nobody died.
Bill,
But
the
they take
Boston
it live
Marathon.
with the media and they lie to everybody and say people died and this happened, that happened. That never happened.
Bill, you said that they have these things called amputee crisis actors, and when that Boston Marathon explosion happened, that one of the guys that was pretending they just put a stick in his pants. It was a real amputee. They threw a stick in there, and they said, "Oh, this is what happened." It was a crisis actor. That's all it was.
Well, yeah, there was even a lot of stuff showing on that military
Yeah.
was heavily involved in this.
Your friend that had the double amputation, remember your friend Jerry?
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that was all bullshit."
Well, which it was.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. This guy supposedly, he was already a double amputee. He couldn't afford the prostates for his legs because they're high dollar. He
Yeah.
had no insurance for it. So they made him a deal. He went there in a wheelchair and they laid him down. They fixed him up to make it look like phony, like he
Right.
just got his limbs blown off.
Right.
He laid down, they fired up the camera. But the story came out that he laid there 30 minutes before they got him off the ground. Then they hauled him off in a wheelchair.
Yeah. With
Not
the
a stretcher, a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Then 30 days later, they got him on TV.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but if you got both of your legs blown off for real in real life, 30 minutes later, you would be dead.
Mm-hmm.
You would have bled out.
Yeah.
There's no way you would even be alive.
Yeah.
But see, they like to see how ridiculous they can be and see people still fall for it.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorites, one is you hear all the time. Oh, no, it was real. Because, see, my friend's cousin.
I saw. Hey, Bill, I saw it on the
Yeah.
television. Of course, it was
Yeah.
real. I saw it on the television.
Yep. Or, well, I got a cousin. My cousin's cousin.
Yeah.
It's sort of like my
Yeah,
friend's
it's true because my
cousin.
granddaddy saw that. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Like
I'm like,
there's
yeah,
people
sure,
that'll
okay.
sit there and they'll say they'll try to justify the story of a certain amount of people in the I won't mention the name of the group of people, but supposedly several million of them died in World War II, and they'll say, "I was there. My uncle was there. He saw it all." Oh yeah, your uncle saw 5-6 million people dead. So you're just giving me an anecdote of a small amount of people your uncle saw, and you say, "Oh, that really happened, boy."
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
People have to be, there's people that are gullible and they just believe whatever is fed to them.
Somebody says, "Dude, the Scotch Irish, we gonna get them towel heads, boy. We gonna kill them towel heads." That's those Anglo redneck hillbilly. Not when they're intelligent. I don't like ripping on them. Hey, Clem. They'll say something like, don't you tell me that never happened. My granddaddy was there."
Wasn't there a story about a man named Jed? He was a poor mountaineer.
Yeah, like people try to use an anecdote, like because their granddaddy was at a concentration camps, therefore it all happened that way because your granddaddy saw a small segment of something, and that's the truth. Oh God, Bill, people are just deductive. This is why I believe that you could never teach this in school anymore. You'd go to prison. You would lose your children to Child Protective Services if you forced them to read this, because your kid would be so smart by the time he's 10, he would be able to deduce any argument and destroy it.
Oh, they just kick him out of school.
No, they would. They'd kick him out of school, and then he would not. He could maybe go to university if he was homeschooled, but then they might kick him out of university. You're screwed either way.
You're not allowed to question, your teachers, your professors, and your so
Bill,
on.
I had teachers in my school system that would physically threaten you if you questioned them. If you said, "I think this war, Mr. So-and-so Reagan is initiating a war," because I grew up during the Reagan era. And if I said, Ronald Reagan doesn't need to be bombing Libya and this is wrong, these teachers wanted to get physical with you. They were like militant, like Reagan can do no wrong. And these people were absolute maniacs. I mean, they were just like, they don't want you to think in the school system. They want you to be bah, bah.
You have to go along with. I mean, the school system is so messed
When
up.
you have to threaten people with physical violence, you've already lost the debate, because it shows
Yeah.
that you can't take hearing another argument. You have to, oh yeah, come on, man, I'll kick your ass, man.
Well, there's that, and the fact that if we threaten you and we push on you, then because you got a lot of people. Like if you got 10 people in a room,
Yeah,
and out of the 10 people, 9 people have been schooled that they're going to give the wrong answers.
yeah,
One person hasn't. That one person gives the correct answer when all 9 said no. Then pretty soon what happens is the 9 give the wrong answer, and the one person that knows the truth gives the same answer the other 9 did.
Bill, your kid may grow up to hate you to read something, but you have to teach your kids how to deduce arguments. You can't just let them say, well, I heard it on Fox News that they treat their women rotten. We gonna get them and fight a war. I don't like the way they treat their women.
And then if you say, what about the way the women are treating the men?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a woman hater, are you?
Yeah.
That's what'll come out. You'll be called a woman hater. How dare you?
Somebody says here, there is a pro-Iran regime anti-American protest in Canada, Toronto today. Government said he will shut it down. What government? You mean the government of, yeah, there probably is going to. So you're only allowed to control the narrative. You know, right now in Canada, you're allowed to be pro-American and pro-war and pro-Israel. But if you say anything bad about the war, all of a sudden they start arresting you. This is tyranny, Bill.
Well, that's it. If you don't go along with the script line and you want to stand up for Iran, or you want to say free the Palestinians, you might get a broken arm.
Beardsley is the guy's name. You might want to get this book, Beardsley. I got another one I'm going to show you too. I got 2 of these books. I threw a bunch of them out. My dad, I went through his old pile and threw a lot of stuff out, but I kept these 2, and they're really good. Thinking Straight. His name is Beardsley, Beardsley. You probably can find it. If you go on ebay.com, you can probably find that book on eBay. I'm sure somebody's selling it. I guarantee some NWO person will buy up the last copy so they don't read this book. I need to PDF this book. What I'll do with this is I'm going to PDF this darn book, and then we can have like a study session. You know what I could do with this book, Bill? I can take my photographs and PDF the whole book, and we can have our daily study, Thinking Straight, page such and such. We'll have a lesson plan.
Well, yeah, I had to say the first thing I had to say to amongst Thinking Straight.
Yeah.
One of the ways to help you think straight is shut your damn TV off.
Yeah, shut your TV off for sure. Hold on, I'm going to find this.
You can use it for video games, but don't get no. You don't need to watch the actual TV itself.
Yeah.
You're going to get nothing but lied to anyhow.
Yeah. Hey, Bill, I'd rather be educated and broke than have a lot of money and know I'm selling my soul. There's something weird about it. Like I'd rather have everybody hate my guts knowing that I'm learning how to be somewhat congruent. I know I'm perfect. I eat meat. I get it. You know, animals suffer. I am a hypocrite in some areas, but I don't know.
Well, you know, each their own. I mean, but I would have to agree with you.
Not 100%.
I mean, money is not going to make you happy.
No.
Okay, for one. For two, people may hate it, just like when I was doing the Blog Talk Radio, and I told people if I had my way, I'd get rid of everybody's TV set. Mm-hmm. The TV set was never about entertainment. And the news that you got from your TV wasn't about giving you the extra truth. It was about brainwashing.
This book is so black. This book is beyond black pill. This book is like black pill on steroids. This will tell you every argument to how to break it down and just destroy it.
Yeah. You know, people would be amazed if they stopped watching TV.
Taught this, Bill, this is like 60, almost 70 years old, this book. So you're telling me that they can't teach this anymore. They have to teach crap. No, they can't teach that anymore.
They ain't teaching that no more. That might be,
I
The
love
great
our
book-
government.
The great book burning, Steve, was real.
The book burning was real. The electronic book burning, they've swiped off the internet too. A lot of
Oh,
great
they've
articles.
been doing that for a while now. They've been cleaning, scrubbing shit off the net.
Oh,
They
the
want
internet
people
was,
to
they
figure out.
snubbed the crap out of the internet. Yeah.
They have. You know, and if you got something you try to put up, they don't want it up, it don't go up.
Yep.
I got a video that I ain't able to put on no website. I didn't make it, but it's so truthful, it's not even funny. It puts it right in your face, and people can't handle it.
We have an Israeli troll in here. This guy clearly doesn't like what we're talking about. He's saying how great Israel is and how we shouldn't aid Africa instead of give it to
No, I don't agree with any war on anybody. So if Israel's great, you're talking about going and killing other people and stealing the land's a good thing, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there ain't nothing good about it. That's sick and it's evil.
Uh-huh. Yeah, this guy's name is AGI guy 756.
Yeah, okay, well, Pawn 756.
Yeah, well, keep talking because I'm gonna show you that other book. And
Somebody that don't have two brain cells that connect.
Right, no kidding.
I mean, that's what that comes down to. You literally have two brain cells in your head and rub them together, and there's no spark. They don't even connect. You don't have the ability to know recognize right from wrong.
Nope, they can't
You
do
don't
that.
have empathy. You don't care about other people. You only care about your own selfishness.
Nope, you can't do that, Bill. You have to do groupthink. That's how groupthink works.
Yeah, think with the brain in the jar, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you? You think you can use your brain? What's wrong? with
Hey,
you?
AGI guy that's pro-Israel. You say I'm a 143 IQ, but you're taking that IQ and using it for devious purposes, which is deception.
Well, that doesn't make him smart. I don't
Yeah.
care what you think your IQ is. That doesn't make you smart. Anakin Monday, they met at Mensa for the world's smart people.
Yeah.
And they were outsmarted by somebody that don't have that IQ.
Yeah, like you and I.
So, yeah. So that IQ thing you're throwing out there, just stick it where the sun don't shine, will you?
Unfortunately, he says I'm German. Yeah, you're not it says not Jewish either. I'm German. Anglo-Stock. Okay, I'm just curious, AGI guy. Are you I'm trying to understand. Are you pro-American? Are you one of these flag-waving rednecks that says, "Yeah, get them towel heads"?
I'm sure it was okay with them attacking Palestine, right?
Yeah.
It's okay to go to war and steal other people's land and kill innocent people who've done nothing to you, right?
Right, because that they're going in now. They're trying to take over Lebanon now. They want to colonize it with Israeli settlers. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, but that's what's been going on.
Yeah.
That's what Israel's done. They go into their land and kill innocent people, done nothing to nobody, and steal their land.
Yep. Well, that's what like I said, I believe that if you're going to steal somebody's land, you owe it to them to give them the best standard of living. Okay, so here's how I would have done it. If white people thought they could come here and take the Indians' land, the Indians should live they should never have to work. They should have a best piece of property and not have it stolen. Something to pay them back somehow, free health care. I know a lot of people say they already got free health care. I don't think they do, but they might. Yeah.
Well, it's just completely crazy. I don't side with anybody that wants to go to war. I don't side with anybody that wants to take what don't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to side with war, you want to think it's okay to go into somebody else's land and do wrong onto somebody that's never done a thing to you in your entire life.
Yeah.
Because somebody else told you to.
Right.
You're not a good person. Don't matter what you say. There's nothing good about you.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, people like that are the scum. They're the reason we're in the situations we're in.
That's a good point there. Colonel McGregor, I don't know about this guy. He's actually pretty good, but he sometimes it drives me nuts. Have you ever seen this guy, Colonel McGregor? He's anti-war too, but he says he likes Trump. You can't be pro-Trump and say, well, Trump's a great guy. I just don't like this war. because Trump is a compromised piece of crap.
Hold on. He's a great guy. Well, guess what? I know another good guy too. He started on Child's Play with his little doll running around and stab people. He was a good guy, Dow.
Yeah, you mean Chucky?
Yeah, he was a good guy too, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's who Trump is. Can you see the knife in his other hand, stabbing everybody and lying to him? Because that's what he does. What do you think he did in 2020 before he left office?
Because I think
He lied to you then,
McGregor is
too.
anti-war. Yeah, he's now anti-war, but he does this thing. Here's what McGregor does. He'll point out all the flaws of the state, all what our United States and Israel's doing. But then he says, I really like Trump, but I think Trump needs to be more forceful. Trump can't be forceful, Bill. He's an actor. He's on a stage.
That's it. But that's because he believes he's going to, what he's saying really, Steve, is I believe in the right and the left, and I believe in the politicians and the blah, 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 blah.
Live below the smithereens. Oh, their navies at the
We
bottom of
just
the
do
ocean.
what's right, and not knowing it's all an act.
Yeah. I was the guy in your last live stream was talking about a guy from Canada who said truthful is when he was being interviewed. Okay, what is your name? It says, hi, Steve, can I get on your stream? I was the guy on your last live stream that was asking about that guy from Canada who said true force loneliness. Why don't you put your face on here and I'll let you in? So what you got to do here is just smile to the camera before I let you in. You won't be seen on the camera. I got to see that it's the right guy. If you're not the right guy, I won't let you in. All right, so I'll send the link here. I don't know if you can go through there. I left you the link, dude. Go further up the scroll mark and you can scroll through here and come in here and bloop. Anybody want to talk to Bill? Here's the requirements. When you get into the waiting room, you got to wave to me and do a dance and say, hey, my name is Joe Schmo. And then I'll black out your screen and then you'll get up on here. That way I don't dealing with these people. Bill, nothing I can say is how many cowards there are in this community. How many freaking cowards. Everyone is so afraid. Like, I could lose my job.
Somebody else might not agree with something they say. They're worried about what somebody else might think of them.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
You allow other people to control you that way, huh?
Bill, I cannot get these two guys, Western Decline and what's really weird is like Western Decline and this guy who goes by the name Thomas White. They don't even know each other. They just namelessly, facelessly know each other from the internet, which means they don't call each other on the phone and talk. It's a weird community.
Yeah, well, they don't never get to know each other.
No, I mean, I know you. I haven't visited you yet, though, but I do know quite a bit about what's going on in your life and shit.
And, people forget communication is how you get to know each other to begin with.
Right.
Steve and I may not met physically, personally, and not.
We will. We'll meet. I can make the trip out there, Bill. I could do it in a weekend.
But a lot of talking, you get to talk to somebody long enough. It'd be like with Warren.
Yeah, Bill and I got
I
a
have
heart.
hundreds of hours of talking with Warren.
Yeah. You met Warren though, didn't you?
No.
You never physically met Warren? I thought
Never
you did.
physically met Warren, but I had hundreds of hours.
Right. Yeah.
It isn't like we just talked a couple of times here or there. No. I've got hundreds of hours with Warren.
Yep. Yeah, video games are like pornography. They screw your brain up. This guy says, and he says, what have the Jews ever done for the U.S. besides drain our wealth? Bill, this synagogue thing, this thing with the car, nothing adds up to it. They said that they were saying on the news, we're not sure if the guy's dead or not. He's in his car. Supposedly he drove his car, rammed it into the synagogue, and no one knows how he really died. It's like, it's so stupid. Bill,
that's about right.
And he's a Muslim terrorist. Like the backdrop story is his family was killed in Lebanon by Israel, so therefore he was getting even. It's so stupid. It's like made up it's like a cartoon. Who does
Well,
that?
they just pull this stuff out of their you, and then they want to see.
Bill, these are
Who's
Bill.
gullible
Most of
enough
this,
to believe it, Steve.
yeah,
Okay, you might want to tell them that Yosemite Sam got in a fight with the Tasmanian devil, Steve.
yeah,
You know what happened because you've seen it with your own eyes.
yeah. Okay, so wave to the camera. Okay, good. I'll let you in. All right, go ahead.
Oh, how are you?
Hey, what's up, man?
It's nice seeing you again, man.
Nice to see you too, man. So you want to talk to Bill?
Yeah, Bill, how are you?
Good, you.
No, I was gonna talk about how I feel like working hard is just not worth it. I feel like 5 days a week of work, it's enough. I just feel like how bad things are getting that it's just not even worth beating your body to the point where, for what, What
Well,
for?
they got it worked out, guy, that this is how it works out. You go to school as a kid. You didn't really want to be there. You get told a bunch of lies growing up. You think you told the truth when you were lied to. Now you grow up, you got to go get a job. What for? You got to make money. Okay? And you got to work until you get older. And then when you're supposed to be retirement time, I remember when I was a kid, you can retire at 60. But nowadays, you got to be 67 and a half to retire.
Yeah.
And they're wanting up at the 70.
Yeah. Hey,
Okay?
Bill, you know what the new buzzword is now?
Now you got the elderly people in the job site because they're trying to stay alive. Meanwhile, we got this fraction of people claiming ownership to the monetary system that's never worked in a day in their freaking life.
Right.
And they'll be the ones that'll call you, for working, a useless eater and feeder. So if I was to look at that, I would say the only useless eater and feeder wasn't you. You're the one that done something, because the reality is if we didn't work, you wouldn't have food to eat, didn't get to the grocery store by itself.
Hey,
If we
hey,
didn't
Bill,
work, we
Bill,
wouldn't
let me
have the computer we're sitting on right now talking to each other. If you didn't work, you wouldn't have anything that you got. But it's the combination of people working together that created it. But what did the bankers do? Oh, they sat in their dirty little lazy ass, did nothing but steal and kill, and then turned around and called the people who were actually working useless eaters and feeders.
Right. No, today I was supposed to go to work. I had a side job going on with someone that I was gonna go help, but I just feel like the fact that knowing what I know, I just think that working 5 days a week, that's it. That cuts it for me. I just don't see it worth it.
Hey, Bill, I got a new guy in, Cisco. Say hi, Cisco.
I feel it.
Hey, we got a party here. Hey, Cisco, talk to Bill. Bill wants to talk to you.
He's got himself in the corner of the screen so you can see his wide open room.
Yeah, hold on.
But I can be on board with
Bill.
this feeling you feel about working. Yeah.
Right, Bill. And Bill, have you been single your whole life? I assume you probably had someone in your younger years.
You got somebody on the phone, don't you, Steve?
I kicked him off. Don't worry, I'm off the phone. I just had to mute my mic. Or go ahead. Hey, Bill.
Okay.
The new buzzword from the Trump administration is we want to make able-bodied men have to force them so that, in other words, when they passed the so-called big beautiful bill, they made it so that if you're 54, 55 like me, you now have to work another 10 years to get any welfare benefits because it's able-bodied men. They put this in the bill, the word able-bodied. That is so ambiguous. You can't even define what that even means, able-bodied. Because
I want to tell you what it means.
What does it mean?
They only gave you the last part of the word, disabled body.
Yeah.
From working all them years, you wore your body out. Now it's disabled.
Yeah, no. They did this. they did this. These are like these memes I talk about. Like when you think of a thought, I was using the term able-bodied, and all of a sudden everyone starts using it. And I thought, I didn't think of that. Somebody else is thinking that. So when they pass this big, beautiful bill, you guys can look it up on Wikipedia. It says men who are able-bodied between now, instead of being 54 to get welfare benefits, you have to now be 64. So if you break your leg, but you can still walk somewhat, and you got chronic fatigue syndrome, you got to wait another 10 years.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane, Bill.
You might have to crawl to work, but as long as you can still use one arm and one hand.
Yeah. That's their definition of able-bodied. It's insane.
Hey, Steve, or
Go ahead.
Hoka, did you talk to Bill about that Alec Minison interview guy? You remember where he said?
No. Go ahead. You tell Bill.
All right,
about
Bill.
it.
So there was an interview, and this is what I asked Steve Hoka last week or a couple of days ago. There was a guy out of Canada had like a mass, or actually I think he used a vehicle, and he harmed like a whole bunch of people, and so he's being interviewed by the FBI or whatever. And I could send you the link, and I sent Steve the link. But when he's being interviewed,
Did this just happen, or was this the run me over in Canada where they ran the van into, and they claimed it was an incel guy that run over them?
Yeah. He in the interview, and I could send you the link at an hour.
Alec Minasian.
He used the word true force loneliness.
And he
100%.
Well, that was the event you're talking about was the very same event that the Huffington Post
mention my name.
Run Steve Hoka's name in the Huffington Post.
Yeah.
And said that he was a great speaker online and incel. And they also took the actor, Elliot Rogers.
Yeah.
He was an actor. His daddy was the director of Hunger Games.
It was a total
I showed people Elliot Rogers on stage in Hollywood with his dad and with the bigwigs of Hollywood. So people who thought Elliot Rogers was this incel guy running around in this car and blah, 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 he was an actor.
So
that,
I was going to ask you, you were investigated by the FBI, and that's one reason I asked Steve if that happened around the same time where the FBI came and visited you. But
it happened much earlier than that, I think, Bill.
No, it actually happened earlier. It was like 2011, 12, in around that area.
So
I actually had, it started off with a green light that came through my window. I lived 2 miles outside of town across from a college. It was summertime, college wasn't in. And this green light went right through the closed blinds and was bouncing off my walls. And it was like this big around. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And then it disappeared. Then it came back. And then I was in a meeting on Skype. I don't know how many people remember Skype. But I was on Skype at the time, and it was scrambled. Just like your old TV set, if you disconnected the antenna from the back and you got that snow and the static noise before digital TV. Well, that's what happened to the Skype phone call. It dropped and blah, blah, blah. I find out the following day that the light that I saw is only the light that came through my window. That size is only by military, and the only people that had a scrambler that could scramble something that was digital was military. And what the real kick in the butt was, a week later, a guy I've known since way back when that actually lives in Germany, okay? He don't make videos or anything. The same thing, he had the green light come through his window. He was slick. He got his camera and zoomed out the street and caught this guy in military fatigues next to a tree with this big device on his shoulder pointed at his window. Okay? And I knew why that happened because I was talking to him and he kept trying to get me to move to Germany. Okay? So what they had done is they had listened in, knew that he was trying to get me to go to Germany. So that green light they threw through my window, they threw through his window. Knowing that he would tell me. It was fear. It was fear. It was to scare me. Then I lose my job. and I have feds show up at my door. All of this happened within like a 3-week period.
Bill,
Talk to us about
Go ahead.
the Fed interview. Can you explain everything that happened?
What did
Everything
they
that they
ask
said.
you, Bill? That's what I want to know too. You said
Everything that they said.
basic questions or what?
Well, it was basically like they drove an hour and a half to where I was at. They couldn't find me because they're looking for the address in the town, and I live 2 miles outside of the town. So they go by the local cop shop, and the cop brings them out there. The cop bring them right to my door, and I was on the second floor of the last unit, all the way down, and I had this big picture window there. And my son was getting ready to go out the door. I lost everybody, Steve. There we are. Okay. Well, my son's getting ready to go out the door to get the mail. When I seen a uniformed cop walk by my window with 2 guys in street clothes behind him. Okay. Well, my son opens the door. The cop looks around. My son, I've never seen this cop in my life, and he knew me by name. And he was all smiles. Hi, Bill. Bill's a great man. These 2 gentlemen would like to talk to you, and excused himself and left. They pulled out their IDs. They were feds. Okay.
Now, I would normally say, of course, you know what to do when cops or feds or police come to your door. You just say, "Here's my door. I don't want to talk to you." But we know with the feds, it's kind of different. Like they have their own set of rules where, that is your
so what
right.
they did is they wanted, just says, "Can we talk to you here?" And I says, "We're not talking nothing in front of my son." "Well, how about coming down to my car?" I says, "No, how about just stepping outside the door?" So,
Yeah, if you
okay, so we stepped outside the door. And the conversation was really a useless conversation. I mean, 15 minutes of BS. They talked a little bit about my last job that I just lost. They talked a little bit about my videos. And then I looked at one of them was younger, one of them was older. And I looked the older fed right in the eyes and I says, I told him what I did online. Okay? And I looked him square in the face. We're standing face to face. And I says, well, you do realize that the court system is nothing more than a criminal cartel. He didn't even hesitate. It was an immediate answer. He says, yeah, we're aware of that. Okay? It was just a total trip. I think it was nothing more than a scare tactic.
Well, but also I think they were probably sizing you up. So in other words, they were coming to your home just to get a look at you to see if you were like military age. Well, they probably knew how old you were, but they were probably there to check out, to look at your property and see like if you had anything hidden. So they were probably just trying to size you up when they came, and they probably realized this guy's no threat. It's obvious he doesn't have anything like a shed in the background or whatever. So they probably just sizing you up.
Yeah, most likely that's what it was. But it was just the quinky dink was the fact that everything happened within like a 3-week period. And when the green light came through my window, it also went through Nick's windows over in Germany. Okay. So that just shows you they were listening in. I had a paid Skype account and could call any landline I wanted from my computer worldwide. Okay, give them $40 for 3 months. Who could call anybody I wanted worldwide. I would call Nick's telephone, his landline,
Bill,
and he would
what's
talk.
threatening about TFL that the feds have to come and talk to you? I don't understand this. What's so threatening about?
You said, Bill,
I don't think it was the TFL that brought
it was
it to
New
my
World
door.
Order stuff. It was the New
You
World
got to
Order stuff.
remember, I was the only one, and still to this day, is probably the only one that ever connected NWO to TFL. The agenda to break up the family unit is an NWO agenda. That's no lie. That's factual. Okay? People don't think it is, but they can laugh all they want.
No, I'm not laughing at you, and I don't think Easy is, but that's what the NW, they want to break up the family by like destroying the population and everything.
It's destroying the family unit and to outlaw. Let's say the NWO gets officially in. And you get a girlfriend and you get her pregnant. You go to prison. She goes to prison. It's illegal.
So it's a good thing that if Iran wins, then. China, Russia, and Iran wins. It's a good thing.
Well, China is the role model for NWO.
So what? So is it over? Is that what you're saying, or?
Well, what I'm telling you is simple. If you like the idea of completely enslaved and living like China under a communist dictate, and to never be, if they want to divide the genders completely, they want to make it so that there's no family unit, no husband, no wife, no children. Children are born in a military installation and raised by the state. Okay? No more what everybody's used to. They don't call it the Great Reset for no reason at all.
Let me answer that question for you about China and Iran and Russia, whether they're good or bad.
Right.
It's not a question that they're good or bad. They are not on the side. In other words, they're not on the side of the New World Order or the United States, whatever. It doesn't mean one's bad and one's good. However, it's good that they're not affiliated in any way whatsoever, because then you have checks and balances where it's like China has their own technology, Russia has their own technology, their own opinions, and diversity is good for the world and for the society. And that's one reason they want to infiltrate Russia, is because Russia is completely independent. They don't let all the world banks come in and all that. So that's why they want to infiltrate Russia. It's good. Russia is not Putin's not necessarily a good person.
That's not necessarily true. You know how I know that? Because this conversation's come up in my past before. The guy I told you about in Germany, okay, he was born in Russia. His mother moved him to Germany when he was 10 years old. He still has family in Russia. His mother calls there now and again, okay? During the 2020 hoax, the mother called there, and everybody thought Putin's this blah, 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 and they were talking how good he is. Everything that was happening in the West was happening there. People don't understand. These leaders of these countries are no different than the leader of our country. The central banking system is in Russia. It's in China. It's in every country across the globe. And it's owned by the exact same people. So the reality is it is the bankster that's taken control of the monetary system of every country. That's why it's the central banking system is in every single country. And because people are controlled by what we need to live, money, the monetary system, it gives them access to control everybody. They use wars, and they've been using wars to steal. This is the reason they created it out of debt, because they never printed the debt when they were printing money. They would charge interest they never printed. So even if everybody in the world gave back all the money to them, you would still owe the interest they never printed, and then they'll step in and steal all your resources and your buildings and your land and so on. See, so what they've done is they've hijacked the globe. They've stolen everything out from underneath everybody. And the sooner people can realize that, the better off you are. But we're already like too far gone. Okay? People don't understand the role model for NWO is China. The new superpower is China. This is the reason the majority of our jobs were outsourced to China.
Well, I don't know if I would say that we're completely gone. The only way we're gone is if there's some kind of nuclear war, and I'll tell you why. Remember, before FDR, the economy in the United States was only 20% federal government. It was all farming and people. We didn't have benefits. We didn't have Social Security. We didn't have SNAP. We didn't have any of that shit. And then FDR had the great, whatever you call it, social thing where he started giving money to everybody and you started hiring all these employees. So what could happen is it can go into a dark, if we go bankrupt, it can go into a dark period. And yes, some people will lose their lives because of starvation or whatever. However, nature will take over and eventually families, women will start realizing they need to stick with their man and not depending on the government, and people could start living off the land. And yeah, it could hurt energy supplies and all that. People will go hungry. However, we'll still have the knowledge and the technology to do it on a ground level locally. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that the system that they created starting from the 1930s gets damaged, and then we go back to the land and local and people depending on each other and taking care of their elders and all that. That could be not necessarily a bad thing. The only way
I understand what you're saying, and I would love to think that what you're saying so accurately, but people think about this. Bill Gates owns more farmland in America than you could even begin to believe. Okay? Monsanto's was bought out by Bayer to change the name because of the protest that was going against Monsanto's. Monsanto's Willie Nelson, in his younger years, was fighting for the farmers' rights. Go back 20, 30 years ago and you'll find Willie was in the middle of fighting for the farmers' rights. So when Monsanto's monopolized the seeds, the food seeds, farmers used to take a percentage of their land and allow it to grow to seed and collect the seed for their next year's harvest. Monsanto's monopolized the seed, done away with that, so now the food that's growing don't produce seed no more. Okay? So it was always to be controlled.
So,
okay? The farmland, the food, has all been controlled big time. They have plans for changing our food completely to stuff people are going to be sickened by. They think it's not true, but it is true. It's very true. People have to go look into it to find it out. Matter of fact, across the bridge from where I'm at in Illinois, they've already opened a factory that's taking mealworms, worms, and milling them and turning them into flour that's going to be sold to the stores for your bread and your bakeries.
That's already done.
Yes.
And they use bugs too.
So you think
exactly.
that this is one of the reasons why they're banning assault rifles all over the states like Virginia?
They don't want you having guns, but in today's society, I have to say, years ago, if somebody said, I've got knives and me and my guys, we're going to go to this gunfight and we're taking our knives, man. You taking a knife to a gunfight, you already know what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, now you got the arms, right? But you want to take your guns to the next level. Well, I want to see you fight back. You got 1 million people coming at the government with their armed guns in their hands. You got the government sitting there in a lab, in a base, using a low-line satellite, just like when you're corrupting a picture and putting a circle around just to crop 1 million people and sending a frequency down, and now there's 1 million people laying on the ground unconscious.
Well, the one reason they want to ban assault weapons, it's not necessarily about the assault weapons. It's like Bill said, it's guns in general. But they have to start with something. So what they're doing is yes. every single year they try different angles, and that's why the NRA is so diligent about not taking any step back. Because if they take one step back, even when it comes to machine guns or whatever, then it's like the saying, if you give someone an inch, they'll take a mile. So that's true. They know that. So
you're saying is accurate.
And we all know that assault weapons aren't really even that dangerous. It's handguns that are dangerous. But how many people are killed with assault weapons every year in the U.S.?
But they don't want you having a gun.
Not compared to handguns. Yeah.
No.
But they want to start. They want to start with something.
Gun, assault weapon, nothing. If they get what they want, take an inch. Give an inch.
And the reason and one of what liberals will say is they'll say, why does anybody need an assault weapon to kill a deer in order to eat? They don't realize that the founding fathers didn't want us to have guns, not necessarily to protect ourselves and to hunt, but to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. So the tyrannical government has all these weapons, The whole point is that that we can come up as citizens and protect ourselves and defend ourselves and take over the government if we need to. That's the whole point of it.
Well, they've made sure that that's going to be next to impossible because, you know, what I was saying earlier is true. These low-lying satellites, energy weapons, people don't realize. They're an electrical beam. You are an electrical beam. If you think you're not electrical, you're wrong. They use a defibrillator to shoot your heart with electricity to restart your heart.
Bill, I have some. Let me interrupt you here. If this was so easy to do, they would have won the war in Iran by now. You're saying, oh, they could just go over there and beam electricity and boom and shoot you. They
No,
can't,
it's not that easy to do.
because
they have
Iran's kicking ass.
Understand, Steve? They do things in baby steps because if they don't, what happens? This is what happens. The people that they're counting on to run these weapons see through what they're doing and stand down.
Mm-hmm.
They need them to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So they do it in baby steps.
Okay.
They're not gonna hurry because that's the way they'll lose.
Okay, so they're not gonna just go to Iran and start shooting beams from the sky.
No.
Because right now,
no.
I think they would use it if they had it, Bill.
Right. I think
Well,
they would
they've
use
got
it.
it.
If they had it, they would just be zipping. They would be zipping with Bill. You're making it look like it's like a laser beam. They can just go into any country and baloney. I don't believe it.
They're not going to use it that way, Steve, because then they wake up too many people and they're counting on the people to pull to do blah blah, and then they suddenly don't do it. They don't want that happening, so they're going to baby step this in, but it's for real and it's there. Okay, they didn't accidentally surround us with all these low-lying satellites. It's not for your damn thing. It's not for your driverless cars. Okay, is for the weaponry, the weapons, the robotics. They're AI driven. Okay, it's for these type of things that they're not telling people. They're going to give you the Kool-Aid. They're going to sell you the sales pitch. They're not going to use this stuff like what's. I understand why Steve says what Steve says. They're not going to hurry to use it in that fashion because this is how people would realize what's going on and stand down. So they have to baby step this stuff in.
So when do you think they might use that?
I can't put a date on nothing. I know they have it, and I know they intend on using it, but they're going to be very, very protective of how they use it. Examples of how they've used it so far, and people's been right in people's face. Maui. Paradise, California. Up there, I'm trying to think in Oregon where Mitchell was at. That was all done by energy weapons from low-line satellites. That is military done. Okay? So the reality is it's already there. The technology is already here. They're picking and choosing when they're toying with it and using it. And they're doing it in controlled situations. So we had Paradise, California first. We had a spot in Washington. Then we had Maui. Then we had where Mitchell was at in Oregon. These were energy weapons from low-line satellites. The fires that kept breaking out in the last 5-6 years every summer in the same areas were from energy weapons. They were starting the fires.
I'll just put it this way. I think it could happen anytime, and I'll tell you why. If I told you, let's say we were here 2 years ago, and I told you that what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. If I told you that we would go into Venezuela and remove the leader, and if I told you that we would literally take a stealth bomber and bomb Iran and try to remove their nuclear facilities, and then a month later we would physically remove all the leaders and the Ayatollah off the planet, you wouldn't believe me. And so anything's possible now. Like,
well, I would agree with that statement. Okay, I won't put a date on something myself. Okay, but I know our time's probably running short. I know that technology actually exists and it's real. Okay? Don't sell yourself short to think that they don't have it, because they do. They've already played it right in people's faces. Know what you're looking at. What happened in Maui, what happened in Paradise, California, that's energy weapons. People don't realize that. That's why I said everybody coming at the government with armed weapons in their hands, loaded guns. I'm sorry, but the energy weapons will, I mean, they'll stop them just like that. Okay, if they choose to. I mean, we're too far gone in that area because we sat back and we built all these weapons and we built these satellites and we launched these suckers and we keep the money. They make these people wealthy to do this stuff, and we keep doing it and we keep doing it, but we're not the ones in control of it.
Well, let me tell you something. I think Trump was a great president in his first term, and I don't think he was compromised in his first term. He did everything that he was going to say, and he ran on that again, and he was doing it, but I think someone got to him. And
well, Trump, I'll give you a little, in his first term, this is factual and it can be looked up and you'll find it out. We had to have lots of ventilators for saving lives. You need to take what that man says and flip it upside down, because I'll tell you why. They did this in Germany before World War II and during World War II. You have 2 life support machines. One pumps the blood for the heart. The other one breathes for you, which is called the ventilator. If you put a ventilator on somebody that's already breathing on their own, it will damage the lungs, then the kidneys, and kill them. They used ventilators to kill in Nazi Germany. During the B10 BS in 2020 and 2021, they were using ventilators to do the very same thing, killing people with a life support machine. They done it right here in America. They done it to a friend of mine that I knew for a long time. She was diagnosed with a fraudulent test, told she had something she didn't have, taken to a hospital. Okay? Nobody's allowed to see her, shoved in ICU. A ventilator was put on her when she was breathing on her own, and now she's dead.
well, I don't know if it's black and white like that, and I'll tell you why.
Well, I can tell you for a fact it is.
Well, let me give you some examples, okay? So everybody that gets put on a ventilator, most people, and I know your example is not that case because she was doing well, but 90% of them are in a critical condition. And so a lot of them end up dying. They end up dying because of the critical condition, not because of the ventilator.
What you're saying can be true.
It's correlation, it's not correlation. It's correlation, not causation.
Now, let me give you a scenario that I know to be factual, okay? Pneumonia. My brother, who lives with me now, has had problems with getting pneumonia really quick his entire life. When you get pneumonia, you have trouble breathing because it's of the lungs, okay? They generally give you antibiotics and put oxygen on you to help you while the antibiotics do their thing and walk you. Then you get over it. But what did they do in 2020? They didn't give you the antibiotic, and you're breathing on your own. Like in her case, she went from home. She was already overweight, heavy set. She was able to walk to the vehicle to get to the hospital, was driven there by her daughter, okay? She only needed antibiotics and oxygen, but instead we transfer her to another hospital where we immediately put her on a ventilator when she's breathing on her own. Now, if you made a few phone calls to a few hospitals, the emergency room departments, and you asked them, well, do you put a ventilator on somebody that has pneumonia? The first thing they're going to tell you is no. And they would have to be really super bad with pneumonia before we would even consider it. But chances are we never would. That's because they understand the same thing I know from my brother, okay, and from what happened with Amber, okay. She didn't need oxygen. She needed oxygen support. She didn't need a ventilator breathing for her. The ventilator, if you had open heart surgery, which I've been through, they shut your heart down. They hook 2 life support machines to you. One pumps the blood, the ventilator breathes for you. When you start breathing again in recovery after the heart surgery, open heart surgery, the ventilator has an alarm on it that sounds. This means your body's breathing again on its own. What do? They shut the machine off and pull the tube out of your throat. In 2020, just like in Germany, they shut the alarm off on the machine and left the machine on you so that it would damage your lungs. Then it damages your kidneys, and then it kills you. They were paying the hospitals $37,000 for hooking them to a ventilator, $13,000 for giving them a rapid PCR test, plus they got the charge for being in intensive care. So the hospitals were profiting over $100,000 per patient in 2020. Trump did not accidentally push. We need lots of ventilators.
Let me interrupt here a second. Trump was not a good president in his first term. He allowed the riots to happen. He was told to stand down. He pushed the vaccine. No, he was an actor from day one. Trump did not do anything good in his first term. He assassinated a foreign general in Suleimani. He took orders from Israel. He let the elites like what's his name? Who's that guy that George Soros tell him, stand down, let the riots happen. It was all a scam. Trump has been a controlled opposition from day one.
I totally with Steve. Steve's right about that. Okay?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't disagree. I wouldn't disagree that he went.
Yeah.
He's not. That he's not
pushed
controlled opposition.
Operation Warp Speed. What was that all about? Pushing the vaccine. I mean, how much more do you get neural word than that? What me and Bill have concluded is that they had to take the David Icke talked about this totalitarian tiptoe. You go 2 steps forward, 1 step back. They put Trump in, then they brought in Biden to screw things up even more, and then they're bringing Trump back. That's all they're doing. It's a game.
Yeah. It's kind of like professional wrestling, right? You got
exactly.
It's the so-called bad guys, the so-called good guys, but they're both on the. But Vince McMahon owns both of them.
Yeah, so and speaking of Vince McMahon, Trump actually pile drived on Vince McMahon, and he's an actor. Is all he is. That's all he is.
Yeah, you know what? So Trump was right there in the ring with Vince McMahon, and it's so true what Steve's talking about. You know, I can give you another little nugget. This happened years ago.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you from 3.5 months of looking into this every day, Chris Benoit did not kill his family or himself. Chris Benoit was taken out. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you this. The day before the pay-per-view was on a Sunday night. Mm-hmm. They found his body Monday afternoon after the pay-per-view. But Vince McMahon cancels Monday Night Raw Live at the pay-per-view on Sunday due to Chris Benoit's death. How did Vince McMahon know Chris Benoit was dead before anybody?
And you said, Bill, it made them. They put it up on the internet and then they took it down. Am I correct?
They did. They put it up, and I read that article, and what the hell? And I left a comment. It was pretty new. And somebody else saw the same thing I saw and said, this is not possible. Then they took it down. I had actually wrote down, screen captured and wrote down the reporter reported it. Okay. And I sent an email to that person. That person actually answered me and said that he messed up and accidentally posted it too soon.
Oh, God, Bill.
Dead fucking giveaway, dude.
So what was the reason? Now, Bill, speaking of Chris Benoit, why did they murder him?
I can't answer for sure. I can only say that I have a feeling Chris Benoit found information he wasn't allowed to have. You
Mhm.
got to remember, Vince McMahon's wife, Linda McMahon, was a politician.
Right.
You got to also understand that Vince McMahon buys WCW, owned by Ted Turner, and Ted Turner was a globalist. He was considered one of the elite.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's no accident. Okay, so Chris Benoit most likely got information or had information that they didn't want him having, and because of his status, people would have listened to him. So they didn't take no chances, and they didn't know who in his family he might have told. He could have told his wife. They could have told blah blah blah. So they took
Right.
him out, and they made him into the bad guy.
So you think it could have been something that was NWO related that he got killed for?
Yes.
Okay. So here, Bill, just to repeat that, you said that the night before, which would have been Sunday night, they posted that he had died.
Vince McMahon had announced at the pay-per-view.
At the pay-per-view, yeah.
At the pay-per-view.
Oh, and then you contacted the reporter and he told you that he set it up there too early.
Yeah, because it's Vince McMahon. You think about it. They told the public Chris Benoit didn't show up at the pay-per-view on Sunday, that they went to do a welfare check on him Monday afternoon, and this is when they found his body, Monday afternoon. But Vince McMahon is canceling the Monday Night Live event due to Chris Benoit's death the day before his body's found.
Right. Hey, Bill, let me ask you another question. Besides yourself, are you the only one claiming that there's a conspiracy, or have there been other people that have come forth and said, hey, this is a conspiracy? Because if you're the only guy preaching this, then people are going to think you're a nutcase.
No, I don't care what people think.
Right.
Anybody that uses a critical thinking skill
Mm-hmm.
and looks into stuff and just pays attention and keeps their mouth shut
Yeah.
will end up coming to the same conclusions that I've been coming up with. It's no accident.
Yeah,
Did
Vince
you look-
McMahon
David
is got,
David Carradine. That was a great example.
yeah.
David Carradine was actually looking into what people want to call conspiracy theories.
Right.
David Carradine, funnily, his death, he committed
He choked
suicide.
himself, yeah. He's a
He
sexual,
hung himself, and he was hanging in a closet nude, okay, with some kind of sex masturbation
yeah,
thing.
they made
But his
that up.
hands are tied behind his back.
They made that story up. He's sexual. They said
got
it was sexual asphyxiation. There's no proof. he
You
ever did
got it, Steve. You're correct.
It's
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. But see, think about it. Okay, Chris Benoit killed his family. No, he didn't.
All right, Bill, can I read you something?
Yeah.
All right. So you need to use AI if you haven't been using it. So I asked ChatGPT, like about what you said about Chris Benoit. It says, number one, bodies were found Monday afternoon. Police entered Chris Benoit's home in Fayetteville, Georgia on June 25th of 2007 after WWE asked authorities to do a welfare check because Benoit had missed events and coworkers were concerned. Officers discovered the bodies that afternoon. WWE canceled Monday Night Raw after police informed them. According to WWE's official timeline, around 4 p.m. Monday, the sheriff office informed WWE that 3 bodies had been found.
You just told a lie.
Yeah, he just told a lie.
I
So
know,
Bill was
he just
saying
told
that
a
Bill saw the article the day before, and then he actually contacted the poster, and the guy
Okay.
even said that I put it up there too early.
So you just asked AI, and
Yeah.
AI gave you the official lie.
The official lie, right?
Well, yeah, because they scattered the internet to see what the narrative is. Yeah, you're right about that.
Okay. The reality is, in amongst the 3.5 months of looking into this, not only the article that caught my attention that caused me to do all this, we had one, they found Chris Benoit's body in the gym, his gym in his home. Okay. Another report, Chris Benoit was found in his living room. Another report, he was found in the bedroom with his child after killing his child. Okay. Another report, he had alcohol, bottles of alcohol, beer he'd been drinking. Autopsy, no alcohol found in his system.
Mm-hmm.
And I can go on with the contradictions that kept coming. And then all I had to do is go back and remember. I read this, okay, And it was reported, and Vince McMahon actually did cancel Monday Night Raw, the live event, the day before, which was impossible for him to know Chris Benoit was dead unless he was involved in Chris Benoit's death.
It's interesting, Bill. It's scary to think that there are forces out there, and you caught it the day before, and they took it down, but you were able to get confirmation from the reporter that he in fact put it up too early.
Yeah. And I just about fell over. It was so in my face, you couldn't get no more corrupt if you tried. I know that Vince McMahon is involved. Okay. I've seen one report where the neighbor, a lady across the road, lived across the street from Benoit for years, and they knew each other. And she said, Chris Benoit never left the gate open and never, ever left his garage door open. And Saturday night, the day before the pay-per-view, okay, a black van went there and pushed the button at the gate, and Chris Benoit opened it. They went in. And the next morning when she got up, she remembered there was 4 guys that got out of the vehicle. She couldn't tell you what they looked like or what because it's dark out, right? Yeah. They went up to the door. And the next morning when she got up, she noticed the gate was still open, the vehicle was gone, and so was the garage door was open. Okay? Now, you think about that, that would have been Sunday. So the door stayed open, the gate stayed open all day Sunday. Chris didn't show up at the pay-per-view Sunday. Vince, the Monday Night Raw was a live event. So they've sold these tickets. Everybody's going to a live filming of Monday Night Raw.
So when do you think Benoit was killed on a Sunday, right?
He was probably killed Saturday night.
Wow. So then they made the story. They gave the publicist the story. The story was accidentally leaked, and then they retracted it. But by that time, you had already seen it. But yeah. Bill, there's got to be hundreds of people that saw it. There's no way that could be. I'm sure there were.
Well, you know where Chris Benoit lived, you wouldn't have. He had his own fucking property out in the country. The gal across from him, he didn't have neighbors that were scattered out.
Now, Bill, what day do you think that he was killed on? Saturday?
I suspect he was killed like on that Saturday night. I think the neighbor, when she saw that vehicle show up and the Chris Benoit's family, they would open the gate and let him in.
And
so obviously somebody Chris knew. He wouldn't have opened the gate and let him in, right?
And you saw the report on what day? The first report, the fake one, or the one that where they initially put it up there.
Oh, I saw that report. They were playing the Monday. I haven't watched wrestling in a long time. My brother was hooked on it big time. And I went over to his house, and he was watching the tribute to Chris Benoit that Monday night. Oh, wow. I went home and started looking, and here was this article that was new, okay? And I'm reading it, and in the article it says that Vince McMahon cancels Monday Night Raw live Sunday night at the pay-per-view event, and that's what drew my attention. And I screen captured it, and then when the reporter actually answered me and says, well, I messed up and accidentally posted it too soon, well, mean, the red flags went up. I mean, immediately, you know, and when you started really looking into it and going to every single news report you could find out on Chris Benoit's story, and the story started changing.
You think about
here, a change here, a change
you think about motive. Vince McMahon would have motive, and I'll tell you why. Because if Chris Benoit was pumped up with steroids and he he did what he did to his whole family, then maybe Vince McMahon is thinking that he could be held liable because of his career.
Well, but what if Chris Benoit didn't do it to his family? Because I'll tell you what, you got family members that come up and said, no way. The stuff they said about the kids even. And even what the neighbors said, there's no way. No. I don't buy that Chris, but not for a moment, not after looking into it.
I don't know. Steroids will make you do crazy shit.
Yeah, but I don't buy that. Yeah. Vince did get in trouble for the steroids, but no.
And that's one thing to kill him, but to kill his family too, like that's a certain type of evil.
I just no, I don't buy that he killed himself for his family. I don't buy that at all. Even,
But Bill, you said
even the wife's parents, okay, said the same thing about Chris as that his family said, that there's just no way in hell. They're lying. And right off the bat, I had that gut telling me that no, Chris Benoit did not kill his family. The people who showed up there Saturday night left the gate open and the garage door open. Guaranteed Chris Benoit and his family were killed Saturday evening.
So let me ask you this. What's your theory on Butler, Pennsylvania? What happened? Who was responsible? And all that? And then why isn't Trump like gloating about it and say, look, someone tried to off me, like he never even mentions it or like blames anyone for it.
You mean the ear blowing off part of his ear?
Yeah, tell me your whole theory about that.
Well, why don't you take some close looks at Trump and look for the piece of his ear that's missing?
Yeah, I agree. Tell me your theory about what happened. Like who did it and why they did it?
It was staged. Never happened.
Tell me who staged it. Tell me all of it. Tell me what your theory of the whole thing is.
My opinion there is that was another show for the public. Okay? They want to make people angry with each other. They want to play people off against each other. So you take the people who hate Trump, you take the people who like Trump, and you make them angry at each other. It's no different than in 2020 when Trump left office and you had the so-called insurrection. And I knew right then and there that was all theater. It never happened. I also knew Trump would be back in office again, and he is. Okay? I knew he wasn't going to jail or prison or blah, blah, blah. Okay? And you notice the last few presidents, they always talk about impeaching them, and they always wait towards the last term to impeach them, but yet they never filed paper to impeach because they're not.
Bill, the cops were saying, "Come on in, get in the building." September, they were telling the people to go into the into the building.
Yeah, they was. You had 2 buses show up at the back of the White House, escorted by the sheriff's department.
Yeah,
they got out with picket signs already made up, and it was Antifa.
Yeah.
They walk up to the front of the White House, and a guard opens the gate, and another guard opens the fucking door and waves them in. They allowed the public to follow them, and the people they went after were the people who followed Antifa.
Right.
They protected Antifa. I mean, the BS that goes on is deep. People have to literally look into everything and use a critical thinking skill. Okay? If you want to get to the truth about stuff, you have to spend a whole bunch of time looking into the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. It does. Most people think it doesn't even matter, so why bother?
What do you?
Right. But you dilute yourself. You don't get to know. But my biggest problem is always fought against division. I wanted to try to stop the division. I would like to have brought men and women back together. I would have liked to stop people from fighting, but it's impossible. Okay? So, people, I guess, they just love their division, but that division is what's going to help to get them dead. Because you're not going to stand together when you belong standing together. It's the equivalent of we're all victims. We've been lied to our whole lives. Okay? We're all sitting here as victims, pointing our finger at another victim and attacking another victim because you want to believe the Kool-Aid that's being fed to you rather than sit back, pay attention to what's going on around you, keep your mouth shut, and look to see what's going on in the media, look to see what's going on in society, and keep your mouth shut and keep looking, and you let it see yourself what's going on before you make a decision. Look deep into something before you believe in something.
Right.
Sit on a fence. I'm not saying,
That requires critical thinking skills in most people. Like almost everything you see on TV is a lie now. Everything's a lie.
It is. It totally is.
It is.
What do you think happened to Warren? You think there was an inside job with Warren?
No.
Not at all.
That
No,
was
Warren,
horrible.
Warren was not a threat to anybody.
No,
was
he
a threat to
wasn't.
himself.
Warren was not a threat, just like what Steve said. No. Warren
Now, were
was
you
He
talking? Were
was
you
his own
talking,
worst enemy.
Bill? Were you talking to Warren all the way up to the point, or was there a while where you weren't talking to him before that happened? 'Cause that
No,
happened.
Warren and I talked off and on for years, and every time he went through a streak there in the last year of his life where he was calling me almost every single day. And he'd get me on the phone and he would talk to your battery was dead.
Yeah.
Then he'd call you back later on as soon as it's charged up. Want to do another 3-hour phone call.
Yeah.
Okay. Warren was Warren. Okay. That's all
Warren
I can
was
say.
he was afraid that the New World Order was going to get him.
He was. Warren
Yeah.
was very paranoid, and unfortunately, he wasn't just autistic. He was diagnosed with a mild case of paranoid schizophrenia. And in his last days, he was paranoid as hell. Okay? He was so scared that they were going to round him up. And so then his mother didn't help the situation any. It was really sad. Okay? And he decided he had to get off disability because he didn't want to be on disability and be rounded up. And he was breaking his butt to get off disability, and his mother didn't want him off disability. So the mother was holding him back. Warren was held back in a lot of ways throughout his life. Then, of course, he had his issues.
That's what happens when anytime a mother lives with a kid with disability, she needs that paycheck.
So, it's sad. So Warren
Sad,
did what
but it
Warren
happens,
did.
yeah.
It really is. I feel so bad for Warren. I don't, I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. It was so unfair and unright. Warren did not have a good life that way.
Mm-mm.
I get offended over people who attacked Warren and not even knowing Warren.
Yeah. Don't mention that guy's name, but there was a certain
No.
person that was going out of their way. We don't need to bring him up.
Oh, I'm not bringing that name up for nothing. That's giving him attention was exactly what he would want.
And he went out of his way to find out get the medical report and for no reason other than he's a troll and he's a very nasty person.
Yeah.
That's a shame. All those documented Blog Talk radios are now deleted, right? That's a shame.
Well, Blog Talk shut down completely, and when they did, the archive went.
Yeah.
Anybody that wanted it had all that time to download. All them shows were downloadable.
Yeah.
Anybody that downloaded it would still have it. Anybody that didn't.
And Warren was a regular staple on that show too.
He was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the good old days. The Blog Talk radio was the best because it was audio. You didn't have to fancy everything with your graphic editing skills. It was just audio only, and it was cool. It worked out. It was awesome.
Oh, I liked it, and the switchboard worked out wonders for me. I could kick out a throw as fast as they come in. I got my clown music, and I would play the circus music just before I threw the throw out. Dun 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 dun
Hey,
dun.
Bill,
Gone.
I love your intro. Hello, TFL
right.
dating scene. hello, New World Order.
That's right. One night was TFL, and another night was.
Yeah, you'd go hello, TFL dating scene.
I did what I did, man. But hey, the show did take off, didn't it?
Yeah, it was listed as the Just Bill Show at one point. The Just Bill Show.
Yeah, the very first time I went on there was with somebody else. And
Yeah.
it was just Bill.
Well, Dwayne Holloway did pop up like a year ago, and he started making some videos. Wonder what happened to him, because he started making videos and then he just disappeared again.
That's what Dwayne does. That's what he does best.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Dwayne in a nutshell. Guaranteed Dwayne's listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, it is what it is.
Deep down, he's got a good heart.
Dwayne has his quirks like everybody does. He meant well in a lot of ways. In other ways, he's underhanded. Dwayne likes to troll.
He can't be his own worst enemy, though. If someone tries to tell him how he can lose weight or how he can improve his life, he fights that,
Oh, he always has. He is. He don't need enemies. He's.
You remember that time that he was going to a trainer, then he started getting angry about the trainer.
He attacked the guy and gave the jersey back. Okay, and instead of realizing this guy was trying to help him, he got offended by it. You know, you cannot help somebody who don't want help. What are you gonna do? You know, Dwayne's Dwayne. He meant well. Okay, when he had his head focused right, Dwayne was a really good researcher, well spoken.
Yep. Bill Dwayne was the best internet researcher that never left his apartment. He really was. He could find these articles buried. He would. He was a great researcher. He was.
Well, you got to give Dwayne credit for where Dwayne was.
He would dig up these articles like. He was really good. I'm not being sarcastic.
It's just too bad that Dwayne didn't take some of the stuff serious and look deeper because,
Yeah,
you know, he took all the jabs.
And don't forget Oversold One. Well, how y'all doing, folks? This is Oversold One.
You're talking Robert Strickland.
Yeah, Robert Strickland. Yeah.
Yes.
Robert was an interesting character. You want to know why, Bill? Because he had a high IQ for a redneck. He was actually very intelligent. He was reading articles that I never would believe. And so he seemed like half of him was on the right side, but then he had his really ugly side too.
He had his ugly side. He had his good side. Robert, I actually liked Robert.
Remember the spit cup? He'd always be spitting.
Yeah, I actually really liked Robert, okay? I think the only problem I ever had with Robert was I was always a stickler for living to what you preach. Don't come up and tell somebody this, and then don't live it yourself. You know, put somebody down for doing this or this, living this way, and then do that yourself. I was always a stickler for that. I would not do that, ever.
Now, didn't Dwayne visit you in Florida?
Yes, he did.
That was a good visit.
That was 2010, Bill. That was classic. Hey, Bill, do you still have that video where he was talking about how that woman was taking her boob and showing, and he goes, what she was really saying to me is, you're never getting this. Tell that story, Bill. That was a great story.
Oh, well, that was at the beach.
Okay, so what happened basically was Bill and
Well, I took him to a beach, and Dwayne had never been on a beach in his life. Yeah. Dwayne was still over 400 pounds at the time. Dwayne steps out on the sand, and if you've ever been to a beach, the sand's deep.
Yeah.
And his weight, of course, he thinks he's sinking. The first thought in his head was, it's quicksand. Okay? And he drops to his knees and crawls back off the beach. And these two gals are looking at him like, what the hell? Okay, so he had already caught their attention by doing what he did. Okay, so what does he do? I had to work the following day, and Dwayne's got access to my computer. I give him something to do when I went to work. And he went and made that video and posted it to the world. They said, look what I did today. And he showed me that video he made. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, what? He said, you're going to get attacked hard. And he did too.
No, he said in the video that the woman took off her, she was bathing, and she was stretching in such a way that she was showing off her bosom. And he goes, basically what she was saying is, you're never getting this.
You know, Dwayne did do that stuff, you know.
Bill, like, I'm starting to think that he was telling the truth. I bet you she was doing it for that reason.
Well, I think that probably is true.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that part. Is just, you know, he didn't help himself any by making that video.
What? Yeah, well, he got a lot of trolls because of that video.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
You know, I'm at work and he uses my computer and makes that video.
Oh my God, that was.
Then when I come home and he's looking, look what I did. And he was all proud of himself and he done this video. And I watched what he'd done, and I went, "Oh my God!" And I realized
she was.
Hey, Bill, don't forget Belinda. Do you remember Belinda?
Belinda.
Wasn't the girl you were dating like in the early 2000s or 2008, 2000? During the Blog Talk days. Was it her name's Belinda or
no? He's talking Birdie.
Who? What was her name?
Or are you talking Brenda?
No, I thought
Brenda. Her name was.
No, that was your
It would
wife
have been
though.
Brenda.
No, but wasn't your wife named Brenda?
No.
Oh, okay. Maybe it was Brenda. Okay.
That
She
would have
was
been
kind of
Brenda.
crazy.
That would have been Brenda, and she was short-lived. She was there just for what she was doing.
Yeah, she was crazy.
She
She
tried
was
to
like
shut me up.
Yeah, she was like one of your fans, wasn't she?
Yeah. And she came there with the intention of shutting me up to stop me from making videos, stop me
She's-
from running my mouth.
She's probably working for she's probably working for the FBI or something.
No, she just, what can I say? But I saw through her butt and I got rid of her.
Yeah, she made a whole bunch of hate videos.
I don't remember that. Did she make hate videos?
Yeah, and then like for a couple years after that.
Yeah, and then you had Vocal Brush. That was
I
her
don't
friend. Vocal Brush and Brenda were friends.
Hey,
And
Bill, did you see
Vocal
that Greek-looking guy with the Southern accent? I sent you that video link. I have a video from him, I believe, from 2008, where he was only a real young man, and he was saying, "Ladies, why do you do this? I walked 26 miles to go to your house, and this woman blew me." And he's still on YouTube to this day, and he's out there. It's like this guy is like 18 years later.
Well, I've been following Bill for years, and I was friends with him on Facebook for temporarily, but I think it was about 7 years ago.
Yeah,
I started coming on. It wasn't Blog Talk, but it was on YouTube. And one thing I think that Bill didn't like, I kept saying, "Well, I want to give the benefit of the doubt," and then and then I would kind of like say in opposition, and Bill didn't like that, so I think he unfriended me on Facebook. But that's okay, because we all mature, we all grow, right? You remember that, Bill?
Yeah,
Right,
I don't use Facebook very often.
Yeah.
And back then I was trying to be very careful. It's like, okay, I'll give you a good example. Okay, Steve will remember this name, Cassie Dill.
Of course.
Okay? Now, the days of Cassie Dill, my son was a child. He knew nothing of Cassie Dill. My son wanted a Facebook account. I told him, no, I don't do social media. And neither are you. When you get of age and you want one, okay, fine, but no. Well, behind my back, my nephew set him up a Facebook account. I could have been the mean dad and made him take it right back down. But I let him have it, but I started monitoring what was going on it. They found out through my IP that I have a son now because of that Facebook account. So, Jason, how do I know this? Because Jason says to me, Dad, and I says, what? He says, somebody, I don't know how, but a friend's request was sent from my Facebook at 2:35 a.m. in the morning to Cassie Dill. Who's Cassie Dill? My son's in bed. I'm in bed. A friend's request goes out of his account to Cassie Dill.
Wow.
That was their way of saying, we know you have a son, Bill. My IP. So then I started watching real close. I went and looked, and when he said that, I freaked. And I went to his account and I looked. Was logged into it and looked. And sure as shit. And it was Cassie Dill. Jason knew nothing of Cassie Dill. That's why he didn't know who she was. He didn't know who that was. I did not allow Jason around me when I was doing my stuff that people seen online. He was still a kid. I wasn't going to have him as a child in the middle of what I was doing.
but you did. You got him with that Brandon Kirk guy. You did get him involved.
Yes. Well, Brandon Kirk was my favorite troll.
Yeah, he was a character, wasn't he?
He
was my
accused you of
favorite
having Asperger's.
And then when he got himself in trouble
Yeah.
and realized that he could be in trouble, he closed the Brandon Kirk account, which was his actual real name. He was using his real name.
Yeah,
Okay. and he went to Rubber Wilbur. And he controlled me everywhere under Rubber Wilbur. And the first time I got a look at Brandon Kirk was with Heather. He had sent Heather a friend's request on Facebook under Brandon Kirk.
Holy
I went
cow.
to it and I recognized him. It was Brandon Kirk. It was Rubber Wilbur.
That's awesome.
It was him himself. He lives in Orlando, Florida.
That's
and he
awesome.
he works for the school system.
That is awesome. Yeah, that guy's a character.
He was definitely TFL.
Yeah.
And he
100%.
didn't
Oh yeah,
like
he
the
was
fact
a
that we talked
he was
about
he was the pot calling the kettle black.
100%.
Yes, he was. And he didn't like the fact that we talked about the life he lived.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
In fact, the biggest critics of TFL were TFLers themselves.
That's right.
Exactly.
The people
Yeah.
that hated TFL were the very people that were living TFL.
They
Matter of
were.
fact, I
A lot of
remember.
true TFLers were attacking you because you were dared to talk about the life they're living. And you
Yeah.
wasn't saying their name. You're talking about what's going on with people, men worldwide. But because they're living it, they don't want you talking about it.
Bill, if you remember, I think that Brandon Kirk, he made like a parody video of you. He like put a hat on with glasses. And
Yeah,
he
he did a lot. I had a lot of stuff happen, though. I've had a person, I got some good stuff to come out of it. I had a person who did a sculpture of me.
Wow.
Sculpture.
For
wow.
real. They did a sculpture of me and played music to it. I had another person who drew a picture of me. Two different people. One was like an artist. They drew a picture of me, put my TFL hat on me. Another did that. One of the neatest ones I saw, I don't know how they did it, but wrestling. They made a wrestling arena and they had an audience. And they had Dwayne Holloway and Steve Hulk and Bill Greathouse coming down to the ring. And they had us in the ring. They had my TFL hat on me. I used to laugh when I seen that stuff. And, I had a couple people say, when people go out of the way to do a sculpture of you, to draw a picture of you that are
They
not
must be
mocking
obsessed
you.
with you. Yeah.
Yeah. He said, no, in that type of situation is because you've got respect from people.
Yeah, that's true.
People who do this actually really like you and have respect for what you've done. I had to have a lot of trolls. You can't do what I did.
Hey, Bill, I find out that the best YouTubers are the ones that don't have these million subscribers. That you really have to be, like me and you have never gotten over like 2,000-3,000, but it's like that's the best way to be because you don't feel compromised at all.
I get to 2,000. So the highest I ever got was 2,600. Anytime I got around 2,500, 2,600, they found a reason to take my channel down, make me start over.
That's it.
You know what's funny?
I did.
What's funny with Bill's? I remember that Brandon Kirk guy would come on, and like he would try to act like he was somebody else. Bill immediately knew his voice. He's like, "All right, Brandon Kirk, I know who you are." Remember that? Like every time he tried to come in, he'd come in with a different count, and then Bill would go along with it and have a conversation with him, and all of a sudden he'd be like, "All right, Brandon Kirk." He had his number, buddy.
Brandon,
they played me and I played back a little bit. That's why I said Brandon Kirk was like my favorite troll.
Yeah.
I couldn't go anywhere online without that guy following me.
Hey, Bill, I don't mean to be a dick, but I kind of want to wrap this up here. Just kind of
No problem.
Any last words you guys want to say before I wrap this up?
Yeah, I want to go. I appreciate you having me on. It's an honor to talk to Bill. I hope we can do this again maybe in a week or so.
We'll do this for sure.
All right, y'all take care.
Thanks. Okay, Bill, I had a good time talking with you. Thanks a lot. You had so much to offer here.
Yep. Take care, Steve. We'll talk again.
All right, thank you. You have a great one.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to close this out. It is the 14th of March, 2026. It's Monday. And it's 1:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you guys all have a great day. Good stream. Great stuff to talk about. And I guess that's about it. Guys were awesome, man. Great show. I'll have it posted up shortly.